My First Summer in the Sierra by John Muir. July 11. The dawn has gone ahead on one of the pack animals to spy out the land to the north of Yosemite in search of the best point for a central camp. Much higher than this we cannot now go, for the upper pastures, said to be better than any hereabouts, are still buried in heavy winter snow. Glad I am that camp is to be fixed in the Yosemite region, for many a glorious ramble I'll have along the top of the walls, and then what landscapes I shall find, with their new mountains and canyons, forests and gardens, lakes and streams and falls. We're now about 7,000 feet above the sea, and the nights are so cool we have to pile coats and extra clothing on top of our blankets. Tamarack Creek is icy cold, delicious, exhilarating champagne water. It is flowing bank full in the meadow with silent speed, but only a few hundred yards below our camp, the ground is bare, gray granite strewn with boulders. Large spaces being without a single tree or only a small one here and there, anchored in narrow seams and cracks. The boulders, many of them very large, are not in piles or scattered like rubbish among loose crumbling debris as if weathered out of the solid as boulders of disintegration. They mostly occur singly and are lying on a clean pavement on which the sunshine falls in a glare that contrasts with the shimmer of light and shade we have been accustomed to in the leafy woods. And strange to say, these boulders lying so still and deserted, with no moving force near them, no boulder carrier anywhere in sight, were nevertheless brought from a distance, as distance in color and composition shows, quarried and carried and laid down here, each in its place. Nor have they stirred, most of them, through calm and storm since first they arrived. They look lonely here, strangers in a strange land. Huge blocks, angular mountain chips, and largest 20 to 30 feet in diameter. The chips that nature has made in modeling her landscapes, fashioning the forms of her mountains and valleys. And with what tool were they quarried and carried? On the pavement we find its marks. The most resisting, unweathered portion of the surface is scored and striated in a rigidly parallel way, indicating that the region has been overswept by a glacier from the northeastward, grinding down the general mass of the mountains, scoring and polishing, producing a strange, raw, wiped appearance, and dropping whatever boulders it chanced to be carrying at the time it was melted at the close of the glacial period. A fine discovery, this. As for the forests we have been passing through, they are probably growing on deposits of soil, most of which has been laid down by the same ice agent in the form of moraine of different sorts, now in great part disintegrated and outspread by post-glacial weathering. Out of the grassy meadow and down over this ice-planed granite runs the glad young Tamarack Creek, rejoicing, exulting, chanting, dancing in wide, glowing, irised falls and cascades on its way to the Merced Canyon, a few miles below Yosemite, falling more than 3,000 feet in a distance of about 2 miles. All the Merced streams are wonderful singers, and Yosemite is the center where the main tributaries meet. From a point about half a mile from our camp, we can see into the lower end of the famous valley, with its wonderful cliffs and groves, a grand page of mountain manuscript that I would gladly give my life to be able to read. How vast it seems, how short human life when we happen to think of it, and how little we may learn, however hard we try. Yet, why bewail our poor inevitable ignorance? Some of the external beauty is always in sight, enough to keep every fiber of us tingling. And this we're able to gloriously enjoy, though the methods of its creation may lie beyond our ken. Sing on, brave Tamarack Creek, fresh from your snowy fountains, splash and swirl and dance to your fate in the sea, bathing, cheering every living thing along your way. Have greatly enjoyed all this huge day, sauntering and seeing, steeping in the mountain influences, sketching, noting, pressing flowers, drinking ozone and tamarack water. Found the white, fragrant Washington lily, the finest of all the Sierra lilies. Its bulbs are buried in shaggy chaparral tangles. I suppose for safety from pawing bears, and its magnificent panicles sway and rock over the top of the rough, snow-pressed bushes, while big, bold, blunt-nosed bees drone and mumble in its polleny bells. A lovely flower, worth going hungry and footsore endless miles to see. The whole world seems richer now that I have found this plant in so noble a landscape. A log house serves to mark a claim to the tamarack meadow, which may become valuable as a station in case travel to Yosemite should greatly increase. Belated parties occasionally stop here. A white man with an Indian woman is holding possession of the place. Sauntered up the meadow about sundown, out of sight of camp and sheep and all human mark, into the deep peace of the solemn old woods, everything glowing with heaven's unquenchable enthusiasm.